Hi everyone, it's Cindy. Welcome back to Studioloo. I'm here today with Tuesday 10, and for those of you who are new here, Tuesday 10 is where I take 10 things out of my stash and we just keep on working until we've turned all of it into ephemera. I just realized that my other light isn't on. 1 second. There we go. That's going to give us a little less shadows. Okay, so what do I have today? I have this page with this bird on it from a bird book. This was from the cover of a lovely book about Indigenous berry picking. I still have the book, but the front cover flap got torn. This is from a vintage bird book, and I love all of the pinky hues here. It's going to be fun to play with. We have a collage board with lots of pink in it also. This is a thrift find. It's like this self-adhesive wall tile. It's like plasticky and kind of raised a little. This is from a vintage Bambi book. This is from like some kind of a Hollywood weird like kind of book. I love this image. This is a printout, potentially from Release the Craftons, like one of the winter kits. This is from a book of advertisements. This is Eve and the Tatler magazines, Mabel Lucy Atwell from 1923. And then we have some other ads on the back, but I think I'm more interested in this. And this is from a Beatrix Potter coloring book of Squirrel Nutkin. So, how to begin? Okay. How to begin indeed. So I hope you're all doing well. I am doing okay. It has been a very weird past week. I have had like 8 million challenges, none of which are really my fault. Just random stuff going on that's been very tough to deal with. Also, things are breaking in my house at a nominal rate. I don't understand what's going on. My GoPro camera stopped working. I'm currently in discussions with the GoPro people about what to do about that because I don't have the receipt, the original receipt, but like, because it was actually a gift and the person paid cash, and you know, like I don't scan, well I do now that I know the drama of it all. I don't scan all my receipts in, and there was a time when I used to keep like all the receipts for everything, right? Especially electronics, but like I remember that receipt being on my refrigerator because when it was given to me, I just put it up on the fridge and then like I didn't deal with it, right? So I don't know. Part of me, I feel like, why do they even need the receipt when they have the serial number? They know, you know, where that serial number was shipped to, like which, you know, distributor. And, you know, they have the purchase, like the serial number, all that information. Like it's just, I don't know. Why? Because they don't want to deal with it if it's a stolen camera? Like, what does it matter? Ultimately. So yeah, anyways, that's ongoing. Probably they're not going to do anything for me, but we'll see. I am trying to talk to them about it reasonably to say like, you know, this is a weird policy, honestly, when you think about it, but it's not like you're going to change corporate belief systems, right? But I think we should try because we accomplish nothing if we don't challenge these nonsensical systems. So I am going to actually keep this as it is, backed, and I'm going to stitch around it and then fold it into like a very funny, fun kind of card. I like that. Then let's open this up and see what we can do with it. I think on its own, it would make really cool journal cards, just like cut into pieces, but also it could be used as a bit of a collage situation. Now this is sticky on back, so what I'll do is just kind of cut it with the backing on. So like, I think it would be very neat just in the pieces, like cut out, right? But I'd also like to try to use it for a bit of collaging. So I think what I'll do is I will cut on this side these strips this one, like so. We'll use these pieces maybe for collaging. And the rest of them will turn into just like simple journal tags and journal cards. That there. This one, oops. I'm guessing, is this the adhesive backing? It must be separate. No, it must just have it around the edges. They don't put it in the middle. Which, if you were to use this on a wall, means it would probably like lift. So I'm glad I'm not using it as an actual wall decal, because that would be annoying. Okay, so these, I'm just going to simply back them. So let's do something more interesting here. Let's break this into one. Three pieces. And I need a folder. Here's just a slice of folder, which will be perfect for this one because it's thin. I'm going to shorten it a bit because it's kind of long. Oh, and so the other things that broke. Okay, so my oven broke. You may have seen me sharing that along with my laughable, funny little fire sale. I called it a fire sale to buy more fire. Because my oven broke. So it's still semi-functional. But this oven that I have it's literally cursed. Like all modern appliances from all the popular brands, LG, Samsung, GE, KitchenAid, Whirlpool, Amana, all those ones that are all owned by the same umbrella of like the Maytag, Whirlpool, KitchenAid family. They're all crap. They're crap, right? They do not last. You know, it's like you could have in the 80s, you know, you could have had, or even the 90s, really, you could have the same like stove, dryer, whatever the appliance for like 2 decades and have no real issues. But, you know, now that we add this quote unquote smart technology to everything, it's just like everything breaks. But my oven is not a particularly smart model at all. But I despise it for several reasons. Oh, I made these little tags this morning. I need to back them and put little holes in them, but they're so cute. So yeah, there's nothing particularly smart, but we have replaced the element in the bottom twice. We've replaced like, all sorts of different things on it, but now I believe it's the board that has gone, so because it's just being unpredictable. It's just being silly. And so yeah, I have to go and look at new ovens. I have been dreading doing so because, like, who wants to spend that money? And I've been talking to a lot of people who have had like recent similar kind of issues, talking about how they've, you know, decided that they're not going to buy a new oven. And I'm thinking about that myself for a couple of reasons. So yes, I could buy a new oven. But I'm thinking I might just buy a used oven at like a restore or something like that, or even just from a person who is selling one, because it's more environmental, number one. But number two, like if I'm only going to get, like if it's a modern model and I'm only going to get a few years out of it, why spend full price? Because I honestly think that the whole potential for a new oven to break down is the same as with a used oven that breaks down. And a lot of people sell ovens because when new people move into a house that they just bought, they want to get all new appliances, all new, you know, they replace everything. Like I see so many houses. It's actually a little depressing. In the city that I live in, there's a lot of people who like will flip a house, right? So they will put new flooring, new blinds, like anything that really makes a house sellable. They'll replace all those things, and then a few weeks later after the house sells, those new buyers will rip out that brand new stuff. And a lot of times with things like flooring, they just bundle it up, carpeting or flooring, and it is on the curb. And it's like, it just went in, but they don't like that color, right? They want dark and it was light, or vice versa. It's tough to look at, because you think of all that money wasted, but also all of that work and all of that waste. Somebody had to make all that stuff, and also it's going to go into the landfill, and yeah, it's really annoying. So I've been thinking about it, because I kind of have this rule right now with having small kids, and about like no longer caring about having the fancy life until my kids are a little older. And even then, not the fancy life, but just like I used to have a very nice designery looking kind of space, to be honest, before having kids. But like, it's quite impossible now to maintain that same level of like perfection. So I've let it go, because why would you try to hold on to such an impossible feat, right? Kids need to have spaces where they can be kids and not feel stressed about breaking things or messing things up. So you make the space conducive to that. And I have done that. So I'm kind of having the same feelings about this whole oven situation, I have to say. And then my little coffee maker that I keep in my studio down here, it stopped working this week. Like, I don't know what has happened. Like, I've somehow almost been hit by lightning or something, but it's been really weird. So, but that, thankfully, I haven't had it for very long. So I called the company. They were great. They did like a little video troubleshooting with me, which was nice. And then they're just going to replace it. So I should be getting a new one. But that, I think, concludes. They say these things come in threes, right? That's 3, and I'm done. I'm kind of tired now of the breaking of things. So yeah, I'm hoping everything just calms down. And then also this week, at my job, our HR did something wrong, and they like literally did not pay us. And so at 7 o'clock in the morning, I get up to pay bills like I do on every payday. And I'm like, okay. So I send a message to our HR woman, and I'm like, so y'all didn't pay us, you know that, right? So she says nothing, and then sends out an email like, I am aware of this situation, da da da. And then, they got it sorted out, like, but the various banks take a certain amount of time to process. So a lot of people were very stressed because not everyone, I was okay, but like not everyone has money movement, like if money's not available on, like it's the first of the month, like it was the end of the month paycheck, right? So like not everyone has like emergency funds, right? Maybe you just spent your emergency funds on an emergency. So yeah, like I was kind of irritated, but they did sort it out. Not that really makes me feel better, to be honest. I kind of still feel like a little bit like, what is wrong with you? Like, you have one job. Like, I'm getting a little less forgiving these days with things like that. Because, yeah, I think it's quite presumptuous to think that people are just going to deal with it. And at first they were saying, oh, well, it won't be until Monday. And I'm like, okay, well, Monday is actually the 3rd of the month. So for some people, they're already going to have bills coming out on the 1st. And are you going to pay those NSF fees that they might have? Because like we're heading into a weekend, and potentially if people have to make emergency arrangements with a mortgage company or move funds that are sitting in more locked in investments, like that can take a few days. So they're going to get NSF fees if they don't have liquid funds, right? Like people just don't, I don't know. They don't capacitate these things. But either way, it got sorted out. I think I honestly take a little bit of credit for it getting sorted out, because I think I was one of the people who was like trying to explain why it was such an issue. And I think in my company, I'm one of few leaders that like we aren't afraid to voice our opinions. And my boss was off, but I had let him know what was going on, and he was equally frustrated. So he kind of chimed in, and, we try to represent for the rest of the staff who feel, I think, very sheepish to talk about these things. Like, I think it takes a certain amount of like seniority to feel safer to talk to these things in many companies. So yeah, it was a little bit of a week. And then, I think that's all the wacky stuff that happened. My son had to get his last vaccines. He had one more MMR to go. He was a little bit behind because I think our doctor changed. So we kind of like, she would call and like let me know like, okay, it's next time to get the vaccine. But then we changed doctors, and that doctor, didn't have all that history. So I looked it up because I was like, I think we have one more to go before he's done his 5-year-old vaccines. And surely enough, he did need one more MMR. So that's done. So thankfully my child won't catch measles, while half of America's children apparently are. I don't know what's going on. Well, I do know, but I'm very annoyed with this whole RFK, like, influencing all these people. It's so sad. I was watching, though, so, whenever I think of measles, it really bothers me, because I think about, like, years ago, Roald Dahl. Many years ago, he wrote a piece about what it was like to lose his daughter to measles. So measles in children, it can be, I think it's never inconspicuous. It's never harmless. I'll say it that way. Never harmless. Always painful. Always unpleasant. But it can mature in relatively rare, but not super rare, relatively rare cases, it can mature into measles encephalitis, which, just as it sounds, means brain swelling. So that is what happened to the daughter of famed author Roald Dahl. So extraordinarily sad. He talked about, like, these were pre-vaccine times, right? So he talked about how his daughter, he would sit by her bedside and read to her. And, she was in such pain. And then she seemed to turn a corner. She looked like she was getting better. So he was starting to feel quite positive. And then, while he was sitting and reading to her, he kind of looked at her, and it was like the light in her eyes was kind of dull. She seemed very exhausted. So he said to her, I think her name was Olivia. He's like, Olivia, are you okay? And she said something to the effect of just like, she felt like her soul had left her body, or her life had left her body, or something to that effect. And, even though it looked like she had taken a turn for the better, by I think 12 hours later, she had passed away. And it was that basically, she wasn't focusing. She seemed distracted and unable to speak to what was going on. And then, as it turns out, the whole reason that she couldn't, is because she literally couldn't think straight because her brain was swelling. So yeah, she passed away. And I always think of that when I think about measles, and I think about the debate over should I do this or shouldn't I do this. But what I can say, as someone who obviously is really super involved in trying to understand the best for my kids, like most parents probably, as a new mom with my first daughter, I was like a lot of us, I was on Facebook. I had a lot of friends who were also new parents. And one of the biggest things in life, I think, that we don't always think about is that most of what we hear is anecdotal. right? Your friend tells you their experience. Your doctor tells you a personal experience, not a medical one. You hear something on the news. You read something on the internet, especially Facebook, because it has been sold as this big social, community. It's really a social experiment, I think. It's quite a unique and somewhat terrifying place. But anyways, nothing that you hear in these ways should make you be like a believer that it's always going to be that way, right? Like that was their experience. Yours could be entirely different. So that being said, I was listening to a lot of people when I had my daughter and their opinions on things. And then I had a friend who, she was, I would say, extremely nervous about vaccines. And her children, she had one child at the time, had started to show kind of early signs of like allergies. And so she had heard that allergies and autism kind of run in the same strain. Like if you have allergies, you have a higher, rate of autism. So I had never heard that before. And, I think she was talking about how like her husband was absolutely sold on the topic of getting their kids vaccinated. They needed to get vaccinated, but she was trying to hold it off as long as possible. And at the time we had the same doctor. So she was talking about how while the doctor was respectful, she was still saying like, we really need to do this by this time, that time. And it was making her feel like a little, nervous, or like the doctor was intruding upon, her ideas. So I said, what I get from the doctor is this. She wants to be respectful to everybody's, point of view, but she's also going to toe the line of medicine. That's what she has trained for over a decade of her life to do, is medicine. And, these people have very impressive, many, many years of training and learning that is all science and experiential based education, right? Like, so I said, for me, I know where you're coming from. I think autism, as well as many other things, are a really big fear for a lot of people with small children. I think that we worry, we read, again, a lot of anecdotes. We see a lot of things like, one day my child regressed or this or that. And the truth of the matter is that in itself is anecdotal. That was your experience. You notice something one day. And also a lot of people, they line up, illnesses to the same time as what vaccines happen. But the truth of the matter is that a lot of illnesses just present at that time frame in life, right? It's like the time when you're taking these intellectual leaps. So when you are 3 years old, you are learning certain motor functions, gross motor skills, small motility, like different things are happening or they're not happening. You're learning words or you're not learning words, right? Like it's everyone's individual experience. So she kind of took one path and I took the other. And, it was hard for me for a little while to kind of justify why was I not considering all the same things? And it got me feeling a little paranoid. And then I ended up delaying my kids' vaccinations anyways, not because I wanted to, but because I had to, because my kids lived through the whole lockdown, right? So we weren't able to get the normal checkups that like we would get. So I don't know. It's hard, but I was listening to this boy, and I forget where exactly he was from, but he got a lot of media attention because he was the boy. He just recently did a TED Talk not long ago about how he was not vaccinated by his parents when he was a kid. And so he essentially like sued them so that he could have his own autonomy to get vaccinated. And he won, and he did get vaccinated. And it was hard because as a he ended up, like, this took a long time. So by the time he was able to get vaccinated, it was like an adult, vaccine schedule. And it's different. Like, you have to have larger doses and you have to have a different schedule and all of that because you didn't get your childhood vaccines. So, that was a frustrating thing for him. But what he talked about was, and what I'm always interested in is like the social experience of like arguments, right? So, and how media affects that. So I think these days we hear a lot of people complain about the media, but what I really liked about him is he had a very balanced approach to talking about this. So he said, you would have one side of the media, which was like the typically right-wing anti-vaxxer side of things, and they were talking about, like, him as though he was some kind of an enemy because, like, oh, this mother, she gave up so much for him. She, like, took all this criticism and protected him his whole life, and now he's going to go against her and he's going to do this, and that's how that side sold it. But then it was equally bad on the other side because it was kind of like, oh, well, this stupid mother, she, her son hates her because she, didn't vaccinate him, but now he has to do this whole thing, and he never felt safe his whole life and all this. And he said, so, both of those viewpoints are extreme and neither is true. He's like, the truth of the matter is that I love my mother. I know that she was trying to protect me, but I also know that she spent an awful lot of time on Facebook, and she got a lot of her information there from, basically misinformed and fear-mongering people giving their anecdotal experience. And, it caused her to be in such a state that she didn't feel safe acting, right? Getting that for her kids. So I was like, I could relate a lot to that. I was like, yeah, that absolutely makes sense. That's been my experience too with a lot of people who are made to feel a certain way, and they just freeze and they can't, like, operate. So, it was a lot to listen to, but I'm so thankful that we have vaccines. I mean, I'm following, ever since the U.S. government decided to pause all medical scientific communication from the experts, I've been following Dr. Zachary Rubin, who is an allergist that posts content on Instagram, as well as he has a Substack that you can sign up for free, where he covers and he sends his newsletter out on all the things that have been recalled, because recalls in the United States are included in this whole muting of scientific communicators, right? So it's a good place to follow, to have somebody doing those roundups so that you don't accidentally buy something or keep something that has been recalled. So I've appreciated reading those things because, the thing about this U.S., the way things are happening is, it is not isolated the impact to just the United States. It absolutely has the ability to impact me and my family too, because, we live in Canada, and a lot of, for now at least, things are imported from the United States. And I don't want to have any recalled bad things in my house. So he was talking about how a meeting that's normally scheduled, like, for the FDA to look at the flu vaccine strains that need to be included in the next year's vaccines, was canceled. So this meeting always happens in March, and it's where they make this decision, because obviously formulating a vaccine to include the recent flu strains, it obviously takes time, right? And then we start to offer it usually in late September, early October, I think, is when I usually see those kind of things coming out. So, he's basically saying, like, what this probably is going to do is delay the availability of the flu shot for Americans in 2025, and that could have devastating consequences, right? We know that seniors, especially, or immunocompromised people of all ages, can die from the flu. So yeah, it's it's pretty bad. I mean, the World Health Organization, which the United States has chosen to leave, apparently, is still holding their meetings. So the rest of the countries should, in fact, be covered. But typically, the United States would also participate in that WHO discussion. Because, you know, I think worldwide data is the best data so that you know what strains of vaccine, or sorry, what strains of the flu are out there and how to vaccinate properly against it. But all I know is the flu is not fun. At my children's school, like, a lot of kids have caught the flu. I wasn't able to get my daughter vaccinated for it until just recently because she'd caught a couple of things. Like, she had strep throat, and then she'd had a middle ear infection, and so it was and we had sort of antibiotics that didn't address the middle ear infection, so it took a little longer to kind of solve all those issues. So, like, I had to wait a bit, but I've got my kids pretty much all up to date now. I just have to do the COVID boosters, but I sort of try to wait between these things, right, so that you're not overwhelming your kids. But my kids are very good about it. My daughter is especially like, I want to get my, you know, my shots because I don't want to get sick, because she's had a lot of illness, because I honestly think, and I mean, this is just my opinion, but I think it comes from, like, she didn't attend daycare, and then she was homeschooled, and then obviously we were all masking, and we were avoiding a lot of illness for a couple of years there, right? So I think it catches up to your immune system, right? You haven't had those viruses and things before infection, so your body's got to work a little harder to kind of fight them. So yeah, this has been my med talk. I'm sorry. Just thinking about what's been going on in my life. But my kids are mostly healthy. My son's a little under the weather today, but there's a lot of kids in his class who are sick. He feels pretty okay, but he's got a bit of a fever, so we're just kind of giving him some Tylenol and seeing where it goes, and if he pulls through it without needing anything else. I think he will. He has quite a resilient system for whatever reason. Maybe because he has been introduced to these kind of things a little younger than what my daughter was. Because we were all in our bubble when she was little. Alright. Get rid of that. Get into these Bambi bits here. I've got to decide what I'm going to put on some of these pieces with our ceramic tile. I'm wondering if I could put, like, one of the deer, just the mama deer on here, but maybe not. Because I think, yeah, it's going to override the tiles. Okay, those will be separate projects. I don't think the birds are really going to fit with this. I need, like, focal points to build onto these with. But maybe I'll come back to that and we'll just work on this stuff. So I've obviously got these birds that I need to put on here, but I'm thinking about doing something. Hold on one second. I'm going to grab something. Ah, here it is. Sorry. Where did I put that frame? There it is. 1 minute. I just recently thrifted this frame maker, and I think I want to make a frame. But I want to share something with you guys first. This is so cool. I just got this book. So in a nearby town, my daughter went to with her scouting group, her cub group. They do this thing called cub cars, where they build these little wooden cars that they later race, and there's a lot of, like, physics involved. They have to learn how to, like, you know, put weight in the car and sand all the bits and bobs so everything moves, you know, fast, right? So she was there, and I found this lovely little bookshop called Forrester's Book Garden. It's in the town of Bolton, Ontario, but unfortunately it's closing. I'm so sad. I just learned about them. But, you know, times are hard, right? So they're closing. Everything is 50% off right now. So if you're around Bolton, Caledon, Ontario area and you want to stop in, they have a lot of Canadian authors and a lot of really cool books in there. I may go back and grab a couple more books, but we'll see. So I found this book called The Postman's Round, a novel by Dennis Thoreau. And it sounds so good. Let me read the back to you because it just sounds so good. I can't wait to get into it. Bilodeau is a conscientious postman who shares his Montreal apartment and solitary existence with his goldfish, Bill. The model postal employee has a secret vice, however. He steams open and reads all personal letters before delivering them. This clandestine activity leads him to fall under the spell of Ségolène, a Guadeloupean beauty, the pen friend of an eccentric intellectual on Bilodeau's beat. Ségolène's letters always consist of a single poem, a haiku. As Bilodeau immerses himself in the study of this classical Japanese verse form, a tragic incident occurs, upsetting his comfortable routine and spurring him on to devise a complex subterfuge that will eventually cause his life to spiral out of control. Around these events, Denis Thoreau weaves a passionate, tragicomic love story full of twists and turns, but also rich in dazzling descriptions of lush tropical landscapes and subtle evocations of the sober, precise art of the haiku. So doesn't that sound so cozy and awesome? I was like, yeah, so we got to start reading that one. Anyways, let's get into this. So I need a pen or a pencil, whatever I can use to trace in that little spot. And I just got this while thrifting the other day, this little doohickey. But I think we can probably use it for something fun. I'm going to use, I think, the second one. Oh, this pen will not fit. What will fit in there? Let me think. Certainly a blade. I've got a blade. Would my little blade cut through this? My gyro cut blade, will it fit in there? Yeah, but I don't think this thing is going to particularly enjoy this blade, but did it do anything? Did it leave a mark? It did leave a mark. Okay, it's just kind of a scratch. I gotta find like a thin how to trace this. See, it's just scratching. Not ideal, not ideal. I've got a little, this little guy. Will this little guy fit? It's got a fine tip. Let's try again. Same spot. This one. Yep. Yep. Okay, let's see. No, it doesn't fit. What do people use to get this in here? I don't understand. I don't understand. A fine, fine pen from a fairy. Can I use like a scratchy tool to just scratch it? Then we can trace it out. Because I do have this thing. It's on the other end of my glue spreader, and it's just this extremely pointy, angry little pointy thing that I don't really know what to use it for. I have not used it for anything except accidentally poking myself. So this will, yeah, that will help me. Okay. Okay. We're good. Now I gotta poke a hole to get in there. Can I? Now can I use the gyro cut? Hard times here, guys. Okay, that's a lot easier. Also, I might just cut a little bit of this with the gyro cut because it's so smooth. Wee, okay. I'm only going to do one of these, don't worry. I'm not going to make you guys sit through this pain. These are the things that I do by myself when no one is watching, and it's very tedious things that I do. Okay, there we go. So as usual with my Tuesday 10, I'm talking about all these complex topics. Hopefully you guys are not burned out from me. We'll see. Let's look at this. Oh, it's completely too skinny on this side. Let's just forget this happened, okay? I don't feel like dealing with it today. We're gonna do this though. This is something I like doing with collage boards. Also, other than just using them for like tags and things, just kind of cutting these little bitty shapes and then chopping off the corner. So you make like this big label. See, they're fun. And then when you ink up the edges, they look really great. So let's at least make use of this one in some small way here. Poor thing. But it's okay. These are all scraps, right? Now, let's just set this thing aside. I'm going to try to figure out the best possible way to use it later. Okay, so now we have this. I want to put birds on here, but I feel like this is going to need like some kind of a background. And then I also just want to... Actually, you know, I want to do something different with this one. I have these acetate pieces, and I really like that background. So what I want to do is I want to cut out a bunch of these little leaves and make like a shaker card with this. So we're going to just have these leaves in there, and they'll be able to kind of fly around freely. See, when I went to the Forester's Book Garden, we were just kind of looking for things to do while my daughter was finishing up her cub car stuff. And the lady was so nice. I felt so sad. I said, oh, I'm so sad you're closing. You know, I just learned about you. You have a lovely shop. And she said, oh, yeah, we're sad about it too. But she's like, honestly, I held off longer than I should have. And I was like, I'm so sorry. And, you know, I was hoping it was the case that, you know, she was retiring. But she said, no, I've got to go out and look for a job now. And that really hit me, you know. I think both because I love an independent bookstore, and I hate when people's small businesses close. So definitely please think before you hit that add to cart button on Amazon, because it really, really matters more now than ever. I think we're being shown more now than ever how much our money matters, right? I did participate in the economic blackout on February 28th. I'm actually still participating in it. I was laughing with my husband because that whole snafu about my paycheck, I was like, I guess that we are really participating in the economic blackout. So, but yeah, thankfully all resolved now. But hopefully everyone begins to think real hard about if they want to give billionaires their money anymore. Because I do not. And I think a big part of the thing too is we need to get back to getting in places like stores to buy things. Like, get off the couch, stop buying online. And I know a lot of people say, oh, well, I can't get this thing, I can't get that thing. Maybe think about it a little more, like, do I need that thing? Do you? Do you actually need it, right? I think we've all gotten very accustomed to, like, I want it, you know, and I don't want to do that anymore. Okay, so what I'm going to do, this has to get stitched in order to become functional. The back's already backed. I'm going to get some green, if I have them, like green sparkly bits, and I'm going to stitch the bottom 3 down here, and then I will come back and we'll do the rest together. Alrighty, so this has been stitched. Now, I got these itty bitty little bead things. I like those. I think that they'll have nice movement in there. So let's just kind of scoop that out a little. Pop the leaves in one by one here. And then we'll push them down with like my ruler. Kind of get them like away from one another a bit. Because again, I don't think they're going to fly all over the place. I think they're going to sit pretty still, to be honest. Okay. Get them all in there. Kind of where I want them to be, like that-ish. Then we'll take these little bitty bits, kind of roll those around in there. Feels like a bit of a, whoopsies, oh dear, we spilled those. Feels like a bit of a Plinko game. Okay, so there's just a few of them in there. Let's save this situation. Do we try to keep these? No. They're microplastics, so let's get them into a safe place. They were part of thrifting. I don't buy those things new. They were in like a mixed bag of things I got at the thrift store, and I was like, well, maybe if I trap them inside something like this, they won't be so impactful, right? So yeah, they're in there. It's kind of fun. So let me take another break. I want to stitch this up because, like I said, microplastics. So that has been stitched around. Now we just got to come in and trim to the edge of our card. And I think it's actually really shaky. It's good. Even the leaves are shaking around. I think because of the tiny little microplastic beads, right? They're all in there, like they're causing movement. They get under the leaves. I like that a lot. Oh, that's so fun to play with. Okay, stop yourself, Cindy. All right, now we got to get serious. Oh, we got a few more of them here. Hold on. Ooh, let's keep them on here. There we go. Okay. We have more work to do, friends. I think what I'd like to do with these labels, also, I love these little coloring book leaves. I did not know they were going to become such a part of this. I gotta find focal points, though, for the, all those 3 tile things, and then these birds that I want to use in a different kind of project, they don't work with that. So like, this is one of those Tuesday 10s where I feel like I've gotten a little a bit over my head here, where I'm like, how long will this video take, or should I just give it up? Okay, so those are cute little labels. They'll count as pieces that we made. They're fun. They can get used in many ways. All right, let's do this first. This is tame, right? We know what we can do with this. Okay. Folderino. I've had a pretty productive morning, though. I have gotten a little start. I've thought of a new collaboration that I'm going to be doing in the future with a couple of my friends, and I got to get started on it. I I pitched it yesterday and they have agreed to participate, so that's going to be fun. Also, for those of you who are unaware, my friends Mary Ellen from Red Parrot and Shell from Shell's Creative Chaos, we are all going to be participating in a month-long, what we call round robin for April. This is our second year of doing this, and basically for every day of April you're going to see a video from each of us that basically we basically do a swap together, and it's a lot of fun. So the way it works is like I create like almost like an advent calendar of 30 things for my friends, and they do the same for me and for each other. So every day of April, you'll see me opening 2 little packages. One will be from Shell, one will be from Mary Ellen, and I will make something out of everything that they gave me. So I use all the stuff up together to make ephemera. So we're going to boost our ephemera stash, and it's going to be fun. Yeah, I want that in there. So I want to do a little inking. This just needs a little something so it can stand up on that busy background. So that's what I'm hoping to accomplish with putting that brown paper behind it. And this might be a nice way to use some of these collage boards, because I have used up a few. I've created a few collage boards over the last week. Like I did a bunch this morning while I was sitting. I was listening to Release the Crafton's podcast on Patreon. It was really good. And I was making collage boards to use up scraps, while also getting my Patreon packages and my shop packages all packed up. And this might be a nice way to use a few of them actually with these birds. See, when you put them on here, I like that a lot. And then, you know, what I might like is kind of a plain paper. Maybe like a label. It's a little too tall. We got to make it a little thinner. Yeah, that's better. Okay. And then I think I will clip the corners of this to just give it a neat little shape. It's fun. All right, so now let's jump into handling the rest of these birds. So I need another collage board, which I have here. And I need my chopper. So I think we'll go maybe this way. There we go. And I want to make these a little thinner when I do giant tags. I want to do kind of thinner tags because I do not have a lot. I always make a lot of real fatty ephemera, and I'm trying to make some thinner ephemera. Okay, that's already got birds on it, so we'll see what we do with that one. Hardy Boys book spine on that one, kind of fun. All right. So let's start with this one. It's quite tame. not overwhelming. And we'll get another, tear another little bird here. It's actually a pretty relaxing kind of ephemera. I almost said the word inventory. What a weird brain fart that was. Kind of a relaxing ephemera to make, to be honest. Get rid of this glue page because it's making my fingers all sticky. All right. Do I want it on the... I think I do. I want it like on the separation of the two papers. So it kind of looks cool. And then just do that. And we'll have a bit of that nice paper up above, just there, right? Like I don't need anything to complicate it. I could add a label. I could add more collaging, but I kind of like the simplicity of that. And these will all be stitched around when I'm done. But right now we're just trying to whip through these projects. Okay. Let me go with this nice big black bird. I think it will look really great on the background there. Trying to get these little torn edges, but not lose too much of the bird's foot. Okay, I've got this silver paper. Would that look cool? Yeah, I think so. Let's do it. And I'll expose the paper core by tearing it upward. So that'll kind of give it another little bit of an outline. Yeah. And that's got that nice ridge at the bottom, or that like line down here in that silvery paper. So it actually goes quite perfectly. I have to go grocery shopping today. I'm not looking forward to it. I kind of just want to putter around in the studio, but I can't. I've got to do life things. I have people to feed. No fair. I might try putting a bird on one of these and just seeing. I like it with that silver paper, which I have now misplaced. Oh, it's here. Misplaced. Okay. Maybe we'll try... Let's just grab this one on the edge because he's easy to get to. These like bird books that are really fun and vintage, and like they have two sides, like they stress me out because like you're looking at like, what, I'm not using those ones. It's very stressful, but you can't have everything. Here, I have enough room that I can still get a torn edge there. Okay. I think I got to be able to pop that up a little so I can poke this under here, which is not easy because that's art glitter glue. Even on plastic, it's really good glue. Alright, sticky. Sticky, sticky. That's good. Then that's actually, probably put a tiny bit of glue there. I really don't feel like it even needs it though. It's so firm. There. And then I'm just going to cut that little off the top there because it just looks weird. That's better. Yeah, I like that. Cool. Okay. Another one of these. I have not set any kind of a timer on this video, my friends, so I apologize if this becomes crazy long. But one good thing, well, I don't know if it's relevant. I actually had one good technological kind of life thing happen this week. So we doubled our internet speed. So like every now and then, it's a good thing to go and check like with your providers to make sure you have like, you know, a good plan, both financially, because what they do is they lock you in as a customer, and then like after a certain time, right, you aren't getting that promotional price you signed up with. So it's always good to check. My husband did that this week and found a plan that was $6 less and like literally doubles our internet speed. So that should be good for things like streaming, upload speed, all that kind of thing. So I think I'll be seeing some nice improvement with that. Now before I stick this on here, let me see, does it go here? Oh, it really does. Yeah, I like that a lot. Okay. This. Okay, so you know what? I think I'm just looking at the time and it's getting very close to lunchtime. And I have to go grocery shopping and feed kids and all those fun things. So I'm going to just do my stitching now, I think, and I will come back and show you the conclusion of everything that we made. I pretty much used everything, with exception to like this. I am going to use these, but like I said, I'm just going to take this off and back these and turn these into just pieces like that. So it's nothing, you know, radically exciting to watch. This one I will put back in the Tuesday 10 bin. I did use a part of it though. I could honestly just throw it away, but I think what I'm going to do is fussy cut it and add it somewhere to something. So let me do my stitching and I'll come back. Alrighty, so stitching is done. Let's take a look at what we made. I didn't even count them. So number one is this tag all stitched around. See how nicely like finished it is once it's stitched? Number 2 and 3 and 4. So we got 4 of those Funbird tags. Oh, 5. And then 6 is the Vintage Disney. 7. 8, this I made it into that booklet. 9 and 10, those little labels. 11 are shaky, it's so fun. And 12. So 12 finished things, but potential for like 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So 19 potential, you know, so I'll finish these up. I'll probably use the rest of the birds here. I'll use up the rest of this stuff that I kind of assembled for this video. But I don't want to keep you here forever because on the day that I'm filming this, I'm actually live streaming in the evening. Oh, and I forgot 2 things, guys. Look, I totally didn't use everything. I'm going to use it up. We'll use it up. You know what we're going to do. But thank you for joining me for Tuesday 10. It was a little calamitous today, but you know, this is what we do here. So thanks for joining me, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now.